Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first video of 2021. I'm sorry there was a bit of a gap. I sort of hit the start of December, posted my last video and it was alright, but it was definitely the one I've been the least proud of, and since then I've really struggled to create any sort of content that I felt was good enough or I felt like I would want to watch. And if I don't feel like I want to watch it, I won't post it because can't expect you guys to watch it too. But I've done a bit of upgrades. I've got some new lovely prints. I've got a new lovely tripod which you can't see, but it's doing a very good job. So I just thought I better start making some good videos. So I thought one thing I haven't done yet is a lesson. So here are 3 tips to improve your improvisation. Okay, so tip number 1 is trying to play more vocally when you solo. So it's quite easy when you're learning initially how to improvise, you sort of get bogged down in that minor pentatonic thing and you're kind of churning away at it, getting that big bluesy sound. Sounds killer. Over a minor blues, why play anything else? But if, for example, you're playing over more of a kind of ballady track or something a bit more sort of poppy and commercial, that minor pentatonic thing kind of wears a little bit thin quite quickly. So a good tip that I try to channel, probably mainly from guitarists like John Mayer, who I think it's quite public knowledge how much of a fan I am of his. He kind of plays like a singer would sing. So I've got a simple loop here, just going over some nice diatonic poppy chords, and I'm just going to show you what I mean. And the main thing to take away from this tip is less is more, and find the notes that follow the chords, and you don't necessarily need to know the theory. Your ear will just tell you when it's right. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is don't play as many notes and really listen to every single note that you're playing. So I'll just play and shut up. So you can kind of hear in that there were some mistakes, and that's kind of fine and that's alright, and that's the whole point of doing this, and that's the joy of being able to play on your own, is you can set up a loop like that, or you can find a backing track and just play what you want. And if you play the wrong note, it doesn't matter, but you kind of have to push out of the boundaries that you kind of, if you find yourself quite restricted to playing the same licks all the time, just play something else, and the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't work. But you'll come across the old golden thing and you'll be like, that's incredible. And whether you understand it theoretically or not, it doesn't really matter. Just play to what sounds good. Okay, so my second tip is using repetition in your solos. So this can be in a blues environment, in a ballady environment, in like a metal environment, creating hooks and things that people can sort of clock onto and really notice, like a hook in a pop song, really counts for a lot, can really pull people into your solos. So I'll use the same little loop again. I'm going to try and sort of build in some repetition in the licks that I play, and it kind of works like lyrics would work. If a singer was singing over the track, it pulls people in, it gives someone to listen to and they go, oh yeah, I know that, I've heard that. And that can really help with building a solo and telling a story. So let's try again. So maybe you couldn't hear it, but I was trying to kind of reinforce this kind of sound. That kind of thing. I'm purposefully trying not to move around too much. I'm kind of taking the assumption that most of us are comfortable with the major and minor pentatonic shapes. So I'm trying to keep everything I'm playing within that boundary. Obviously, the more confident you get in the guitar and the more knowledge you have, you can start experimenting with these licks up and down the neck. So you can sort of do repetition in different positions or different octaves and things, and that can really spice things up as well. But just put yourself in one position and just see what you can get out of that. But using repetition in your solos can really help. Okay, so the last tip is basically note targeting. So it kind of comes down to pushing out, like I was saying earlier, just sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit, finding notes that you wouldn't normally play, notes that you maybe wouldn't work over one chord but they work really beautifully over another chord. And you can get into the theory of using thirds to lead notes, especially in a blues. So for example, Matt Schofield does this a lot. So if we're in A, let's start on the one chord. He's targeting that major third there. When we then move to the 4, hopefully you could hear just in that bit I played, you could hear the chords move. You could hear when I went to the 5 chord, you could hear when I came back to the 4 and then back to the 1 again. And that works really well in blues. It's easy to do in blues because there's only 3 chords to move between. But over the loop that we've been playing over, for example, just finding notes that really enhance the sense of movement. Here we go. So hopefully you heard then I was almost sort of building tension to a note and then releasing it when the chord came in underneath it. That bend really lifts it up and you're just ready to get back to that tonic chord again, and that can really help give some weight and some power to your solos. You hear a lot of guitarists doing this, but I will just keep banging on. John Mayer does it a lot. That's why his Gravity solos, for example, when he plays that live, it's only 2 chords. He's playing over 2 chords for about 5 minutes, but it's some of the most incredible playing because he's using that tension and release, he's building it, he's telling the story, he's using repetition. So I guess the best way to do it, the best way to practice this, having a looper is brilliant, but there are thousands of incredible backing tracks on YouTube. Danish Pete from Andertons makes some incredible tracks and it crosses a huge variety of different genres. So take something that you've learned while playing over blues and put it over a big like minor country acoustic ballad or something, or some slide lick that you heard over a country song, try and put it into like a Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of shuffle and just bend things up a little bit, try those different notes, try those different positions, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but if you don't branch out, you'll never know. So my tips, again, try and play more vocally, think of a singer when you're playing as much as a guitar player. That doesn't mean don't throw in all those awesome licks that only guitars can do because they're great. Yeah, try and think more melodically. Number 2, repetition. So find a hook or a riff or a lick or something that you think sits really nicely, and you don't have to play it directly over and over and over and over, but every now and again just come back to it, just keep dropping it back in, keep reminding people You've heard this before, look where I'm taking it now. It's the same thing, but I'm moving it somewhere else. That can count for a lot. And then number 3, note targeting. So find notes within your pentatonic patterns, within your major scale patterns, minor scale patterns. You'll find that some notes carry a lot more weight over certain chords than other ones. And this can be a really powerful tool for just enhancing the movement of the progressions. Okay, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that and you can take something away from some of those tips. If you have enjoyed it, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing my best over this year to be putting videos up once a week or thereabouts. Make sure you go and follow me on social media, which is down somewhere, haven't done the edit yet. Yeah, go and show some love over there, say hello, ask me any questions, video recommendations, anything like that. Cheers, see you next week.